Is it possible the ghostwriter dislikes Harry? I know people who know him. I've heard interesting things about him. I know he's, as I have said previously, very into the 12-step program and the whole druggy alky business. It is not the job of a ghostwriter to do anything but put the thoughts of the incompetent who requires a ghostwriter.
All Samantha's questions from her lawyers, whether she lied about Samantha, about Thomas Markle in her notorious interview with Oprah Winfrey. So that's a major breakthrough for Samantha Markle, for Thomas Markle, and for the truth.
I think more people want something in-depth in terms of the review of the Tom Bow book than don't. So some people just wanted one episode, other people want more.
He had to admit that actually those stories had been published by other newspapers, days prior, and that's where they got the information from. Or the fact sometimes the palace released information themselves and Prince Harry wasn't aware of it, or the fact that it was just sources and friends or people close to Prince Harry.
And I must say, it's always beyond Meghan. Meghan doesn't believe in reconciliation. Look at her appalling relationship with her father. She's a hard nut.
When I was pregnant, and Harry says, oh, there was a little discussion before we got married. Well, something's wrong right there. But anyway.
I think it's mixed. I think that once she saw Meghan when she came to London in 2016, 2018, and she reached out to Victoria to get freebies.
I personally think there are times when he should have. You are absolutely right. The book is littered with inconsistencies and anomalies, where Harry is on the one hand raging about people and how terrible they are because they are doing to him exactly what he is doing to someone else, but he's a wonderful person. But they're terrible.
No, I choose people who don't want to be written about on the whole, whose lives are shrouded in mystery and they want to hide their secrets, and I just love digging away to find out what they don't want us to know.
Which is very revelatory, as you know, about Meghan and Harry. I got absolutely no help from the palace whatsoever, on the contrary.
Prince Harry thought he could shut the noise down, but instead, Lady C turned the volume all the way up. The second reports hit that he's considering legal action against her and royal biographer Tom Bower. What was supposed to quiet critics only made things louder, messier, and way more explosive. Suddenly, this wasn't just internet chatter anymore. This jumped straight into royal secrets, long-standing rumors, and legal threats that could crack the Sussex storyline wide open.
Prince Harry and Meghan lying about the Princess of Wales, Catherine. Now, ITV has announced that Prince Harry has taken part in a documentary about phone hacking. I'm just curious to know, is violating someone else's privacy really the hill Prince Harry wants to die on? I mean, has he read the pages of Spare?
Well, she's actually composed again, and never talks about it. I mean, the whole problem she found with this last Vanity Fair issue, the hustle issue, is that she couldn't control the content. And she is somebody who believes, understandably, she's got to control everything down to the last full stop.
From viral clips people keep replaying to the real possibility of courtroom chaos, this is the kind of tea the palace never wanted spilled. So don't blink, because once this starts unraveling, there's no rewind button. Reports say Harry is furious, and this goes way beyond bad press. Behind closed doors, he's reportedly weighing serious legal moves against Lady C and Tom Bower, and the reason is simple: they didn't tiptoe around anything. Both openly questioned the unusual level of secrecy surrounding Archie and Lilibet's births. No soft wording, no careful phrasing. They pointed at what they say are gaps in public information. No traditional hospital photo moments, unclear timelines, and fewer confirmations than people expect with royal births. Fair or not, that stood out to a lot of watchers.
Harry is definitely delusional. He's always had tendencies to delusions. We need to cut him some slack with the possibility as I have said before, that he might have been born, shall we say, handicapped. Certainly, he's no brain box. On the contrary, it doesn't help that he doesn't have a mind to be in with, and that he's out of the mind he doesn't have. But the impertinence, the arrogance, is truly beyond belief. Because really, what did that dowry offer constitute? Oh, it was meant to give the message that, oh, I want to be wonderful. I don't want to upstage Pa or Big Willie. But I need you to know how important I am. So I will make the offer as if Harry and Meghan's engagements are now going to set the agenda for the royal family.
Insiders claim that when Harry heard what was said on air, he was heated. And let's be real, anyone would feel attacked. This wasn't casual shade. Their commentary challenged his judgment, hinted at image management, and pushed back hard on the Sussex version of events, according to them. The public narrative wasn't accidental. It was carefully controlled, especially as influence and money became tighter. But here's where it gets risky. Lady C and Bauer don't look scared at all. These aren't newcomers. They're veterans of royal deep dives, and they say they have sources, documents, and testimony to back their work.
And I'm told Megsy baby has had a total collapse. 10 tears left eye and a few on the right as well. Curled up in a ball. You'd have to have a heart of stone and not to be moved by the performance. I mean, she made Euripides look as if he didn't understand what drama was all about. Curled up in a ball. Look at all I've sacrificed for you and your family. And look at the way you've repaid me. I gave up my career for you.
Lady C didn't blink. The message was loud. Take it to court if you want. Legal analysts warn that a lawsuit could blow back hard. Court cases don't stay tidy. Private records could be dragged into the spotlight, and once that door opens, it doesn't close quietly. Meanwhile, Buckingham Palace stayed silent. No pushback, no clarification, just the usual "we don't comment" stance. And everyone knows what silence does online. It doesn't cool things down. It sends speculation into overdrive. Clips went viral, hashtags trended, and people started rewatching old footage like detectives. If this ever lands in a courtroom, it wouldn't just be awkward. It could seriously damage credibility and leave a permanent mark on their place in royal history. The harder Harry tries to control the narrative, the more it seems to slip right through his hands.
Pregnancy video that made the entire world cringe from secondhand embarrassment, or talking about her experiences on podcasts or things like that, or just posting a lot more pictures. It has drawn a lot of attention to the controversies surrounding her kids, her pregnancies, how the children came into the world, the whole thing. Everything she's done has only drawn more speculation and brought the controversies back up about how Meghan and Harry have handled all of this, as well as the rumors that perhaps they used a surrogate.
Harry, I said it before and I'm saying it again. Harry and Meghan's marriage is in big trouble. Yes, she reeled him back in when she needed him performing like a performing seal, and yes, he obliged, and yes, there was a pretense that everything was okay, and I'm sure she put on that Stan Getz record for Harry so that he would be convinced that the greatest pleasures in life are when you're blowing in the wind. Well, unless of course you're roasting chicken. But...
And just when things couldn't get any more chaotic, Tom Bauer claimed he had what he called the receipts. According to him, His investigative team checked hospitals connected to Meghan's reported birth timelines and said they found no publicly verifiable confirmations. No standard records, no clear acknowledgments, nothing that put the questions to rest. To critics, that wasn't just unusual, it was alarming. Lady C didn't hesitate to weigh in either. She suggested that the lack of clarity could point to alternative explanations, including surrogacy, presenting it as a theory rather than a proven fact. That idea had hovered quietly in the background for years, but she pulled it straight into the spotlight. She also referenced viral clips already circulating online, claiming the visuals didn't align with what she personally expected from a typical pregnancy. This time, the internet didn't shrug it off. Speculation spread fast. Royal watchers say this is exactly why Harry appears shaken. These aren't fringe rumors anymore. This discussion has moved on to major platforms with massive audiences. Once a story reaches that level, it's almost impossible to contain.
Meghan had already recorded their poison for Netflix. It was already edited. All the stuff that we heard today about Charles lying, about William screaming and shouting, was in the can, was being edited.
I had always looked at it more as, oh, she landed this prince, that's what she was out for. We know that she was hunting for someone of wealth, of notoriety in Great Britain, and she landed, the biggest you could land. But it worked the other way, too. He was feeling irrelevant. She comes along. She's a, somewhat well-known person, or at least that was his impression. And she's mixed race. She could elevate his star as well. It worked both ways.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, what I discovered was, of course, that she was hunting for a man in England from 2013 onwards when her...
If public confidence in the Sussex narrative starts to fracture, the image they spent years shaping could unravel quickly. But here's the twist. Lady C and Bauer insist this isn't about attention or clout. They claim their commentary is based on sources, internal material, and accounts they believe are credible. One cryptic comment about validation by an RBC sent viewers into a spiral. No explanation followed, but it sounded serious enough to make people pause and take notice. Bauer didn't stop with birth-related questions. He expanded his criticism to Harry's security arguments, financial concerns, and the way the royal exit was handled. According to him, media coverage wasn't just documenting events. It was being used to manage perception. Now that control appears weaker, Harry's response was firm denial. Lawyers were brought in. Defamation threats were discussed. That's when Lady C remained calm and openly challenged the idea of legal action, saying she wasn't intimidated. That confidence resonated with viewers who feel critics are often pressured into silence. She also warned that a court case could expose far more than Harry intends. And as legal teams work behind the scenes, one question keeps growing louder online.
I was shocked to hear that. I mean, is that who he is?
Well, I think Harry is a very complicated person because he's not very intelligent and undoubtedly remains damaged by the early death of his mother, Diana. And he very foolishly blames the media for her, in his words, murdered her, which is complete nonsense. But I think he loved the adulation. He loved it when he was being praised, especially when he was a soldier. But then he became criticized. Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
Right.
The Netflix series is over. There's no great podcast. They don't generate any money. And I don't see where she is going from here. I think she has a major problem.
Why Meghan?
Well, because she poses a challenge to the royal family, and she's a fascinating person. I mean, she's a person who started from nothing and has become a world global star. And that route to the top has never really been properly reported and examined and investigated.
What is he so afraid of becoming public? Insiders say this is no longer just a PR issue. The stakes are higher, the risks are bigger, and Prince Harry may have more to lose now than ever before. The more Harry tries to clamp down on the narrative, the more it seems to slip straight through his fingers. And just when things felt like they couldn't escalate further, Tom Bauer claimed he had what he called the receipt. He said his investigative team checked hospitals connected to the periods when Meghan was said to have given birth and came up empty. No clear records, no confirmations, not a single solid trail. To critics, that wasn't a small inconsistency. It felt like a warning siren. Lady C didn't hesitate either. She openly suggested that the lack of documentation could be pointing to something much bigger, including the possibility of surrogacy. That idea had floated quietly in the background for years, but she pulled it straight into the open. She even referenced viral clips of Meghan's baby bump, arguing that, in her opinion, the movement didn't align with a typical pregnancy.
Oh, on the contrary, I think she's a very scheming, very clever woman. No, I think the surprising thing at the end of the book, I realized how successful she'd been. Here was a woman who was nothing. I mean, born, broken family, the whole thing, an unknown actress, all the rest of it, becomes a global star, which is what she wanted.
That 2025 was going to be the year of the Markle sparkle. And maybe she would say in the last few weeks, as she's accepting a Humanitarian of the Year award, she might say, see, but for the most part, I didn't see that.
Harry loses his patience from time to time with Meghan. Remember some time ago I told you that he said he'd regretted ever having married her and that things were really bad between them, and then she reeled him back in? Well, as I've said before, and I say it again, when hunger comes in through the door, love goes out the window. And although I would not say that their marriage is definitively over at this point, Harry made it absolutely clear he's had enough. And what did Harry do?
This time, the internet didn't laugh it off. Speculation spread everywhere. Royal watchers say this explains why Harry looks so shaken. These are no longer fringe rumors traded in obscure corners of the internet. This is being discussed on major broadcasts, in front of millions. Once a story reaches that level, it's almost impossible to contain. If the public starts questioning the legitimacy of the Sussex narrative, the image they spent years carefully crafting could collapse fast.
So 2025 was the beginning of something very, very exciting for her, because not least, With Love Meghan was going to appear a few weeks into the new year. And then, of course, it all goes wrong. But on that day, New Year's Day, she could only hope, well, it's a new year, it can only get better.
Meghan made that accusation, not Oprah Winfrey. Also, I think they're reserving that sort of attack for Meghan's own book, for which we must now look forward in a year's time or something.
Exactly.
But I did think it was very interesting.
And she has made it. Well, she was a third-rate acting, and she's now a global icon. That isn't success, and she wanted it. She said to her father when she was a young girl, I just want to be famous on the red carpet, and she's made it. But I think on the way, what she's done is damaging. And that's what the book does. It tells the story of a girl who came from a broken family, who struggled very hard, and is, in her terms, has made it.
But here's the twist. Lady C and Bauer both insist this isn't about chasing attention. They claim their information comes from real sources, internal material, and even eyewitness accounts. One cryptic line about validation by an RBC sent viewers spiraling. No explanation followed, no clarification, but it sounded serious enough to make people stop scrolling. And it didn't stop with birth-related questions. Bauer expanded his criticism to everything from Harry's security claims to money concerns and how the royal exit was handled. According to him, the media wasn't just reporting the story, it was being used to shape it. Now that grip appears to be weakening. So how did Harry respond? Flat denial. Lawyers were contacted. Defamation threats were floated, and that's when Lady C appeared completely unfazed. Calm, confident, unbothered, she openly challenged the idea of legal action, essentially daring him to sue.
He had to admit that actually those stories had been published by other newspapers, days prior, and that's where they got the information from. Or the fact sometimes the palace released information themselves and Prince Harry wasn't aware of it, or the fact that it was just sources and friends or people close to Prince Harry.
These are words which he has rehearsed and which he's delivering to make a point, to make his own fortune. And of course, the casualty is not only the royal family, but Britain's reputation too. Across the world, it is really quite tragic that he's been allowed and encouraged to make these sort of allegations, which has no evidence. And of course, full of contradictions, dishonest. Harry, whereas he's come over, he didn't stay after the funeral, he didn't stay after the coronation. I think he's come because his father clearly asked him to come, but I don't see any sign of forgiveness from the other members of the family for the terrible lies and disloyalty which he's shown.
That moment landed hard with viewers who are tired of seeing critics pressured into silence. She also warned that taking this to court could expose far more than Harry intends. And while legal teams work behind the scenes, one question keeps growing louder online. What is he so afraid of becoming public? Royal insiders say this has moved beyond a simple PR mess. The stakes are higher, the risks are bigger, and Prince Harry may have never had more to lose. This storm around Lady C and Tom Bower's claims isn't just about headlines anymore. During the broadcast, he said his team quietly checked hospital records tied to Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital and the Portland Hospital in London, the two locations where Meghan was publicly reported to have given birth. According to him, they found nothing. No paperwork, no confirmations, no trace. He said if the births happened there, they happened without any visible record. That's when the internet really exploded. People went back to old pregnancy footage, slowing clips down, replaying moments, and analyzing every step. Viewers started pointing out details they said looked strange. The stomach folding, shifting, moving in ways they claimed didn't look natural.
Meghan, she's ambitious, she's good-looking, she is determined, she succeeded in getting a good script with suits and everything, and in the end she succeeded in getting a man who built her up, who she was looking for all along. But on the other hand, on the way, there were many victims. And I think that the victims are obviously the people I looked for, because she did her very best to prevent her friends and the people she'd worked with.
Why else are you being sort of suspicious and secretive around labor and birth? And people theorized and claimed that the couple needed time to stage a story because Meghan didn't actually deliver the children.
Harry doesn't have the brains, and Meghan has the ability. Not enough brains to have figured out that being too clever by half is stupid by whole, but enough brains to think, well, I'm so clever, I can outsmart everybody. And anybody who gets to see what I'm about, sorry, I forgot, the hands have to flash. After all, she is a member of, well, isn't she the woman from La Mancha? Windmills everywhere? You notice she's gone quiet on Instagram for about a month now. There was a whole load of postings when she was pushing the narrative that I'm a great success.
What had once been dismissed as conspiracy talk suddenly didn't sound so easy to brush off. Lady C added to the pressure. She reminded audiences that royal births traditionally follow strict procedures. Doctors are publicly named, hospital steps are photographed, formal announcements are issued. According to her, none of that happened with Archie, and again with Lilibet. She argued that this wasn't accidental. She suggested it was deliberate. Those comments hit a nerve. Plenty of people already had doubts about Harry and Meghan's version of events. This made them louder, especially because Buckingham Palace stayed vague. The response was the familiar line about not engaging in speculation. There was no detailed denial. For many observers, that silence spoke louder than words.
That Samantha only called herself Markle when Meghan was engaged to Harry, which Samantha says is a total lie. Interestingly, Samantha also says that Meghan's story about having a Ford Explorer where she could only get in through the boot was also untrue. She goes through a whole load of Meghan's lies. So by July, that is what the judge has said, these depositions, this cross-examination of Meghan will take place for the trial to start in October. So Meghan really has a problem because until today, her lawyers have been saying this is so ridiculous, we refuse to even engage with Samantha Markle. They stonewall.
He has more power than the courts and the king. That's what he's trying to do. He's getting the government to undermine the legal system and the institution of the monarchy. It couldn't be simpler. Harry has security when he comes to this country. It's assessed on a case-by-case basis. If he stays in a palace, and he's offered to stay in palaces, and refuses to do so, because he's trying to manipulate the system.
Bauer then widened the scope. He linked the birth controversy to what he described as Harry and Meghan's broader strategy. According to him, when they feel cornered, they lean heavily on claims of racism and security fears to shut criticism down. He argued that tactic has protected them for years, but now it's starting to crack. He pointed to their Netflix deal and book contracts as signs of financial pressure, suggesting they need the income more than ever. He also claimed their once polished image is weakening, with fewer public allies willing to defend them. In his view, that pressure explains why the narrative around their children is guarded so aggressively. Any doubt doesn't just damage reputation, it threatens the entire post-royal brand. The perfect family image, the humanitarian messaging, the power couple identity, all of it now rests on shakier ground. People are openly questioning things that were once treated as off-limits. Lady C echoed that point even more sharply. She accused Meghan of marrying Harry for status and wealth, only to realize he wasn't nearly as rich as she expected. According to her, Meghan believed he would be worth hundreds of millions, maybe more. Instead, she said, Harry remained financially dependent on the same institution he was encouraged to attack. The claim was harsh, but it resonated with critics who believe the couple's constant media projects are less about causes and more about survival. More people are now asking whether the publicity is driven by mission or money. The atmosphere around Harry and Meghan has shifted. What started as a PR problem is turning into something riskier. Legal analysts warn that if Harry moves forward with a lawsuit, he could open doors he's spent years trying to keep closed. Court isn't just a threat anymore. It's a gamble.
Meghan left Britain and then did the Oprah Winfrey interview. It's been really poisonous. Well, he does it because he needs a profile. That's the only way they can get money, by showing the profile. And for Netflix, everything is built around the future documentary series to promote the Sussexes.
Is married to a professional journalist who was the editress of the Evening Standard.
Or shall we say, stretching the truth, could the single case see Harry caught up in his own web of lies? Well, to answer this and much more, I'm delighted to welcome the world's top royal author. He, of course, published Revenge, Meghan, Harry and the War Between the Windsors, Tom Bauer. So, Tom, this feels like a significant development tonight. What's happening? Well, if I was Meghan, I'd be undoubtedly very worried tonight. What the judge decided.
Lady C's defiance has become a rallying point for critics tired of seeing dissent shut down. Her words, "Let him sue me," weren't just provocation. They were a challenge to bring everything into a courtroom where evidence is examined publicly. Experts note that defamation cases often force plaintiffs to reveal private records. In this situation, that could include sensitive documentation tied to the very issues being questioned. With public curiosity already at a boiling point, a trial like that wouldn't just be news. It would dominate headlines. The palace's muted response has only intensified the tension. Instead of a clear defense or firm denial, Buckingham Palace repeated its standard position. Behind the scenes, insiders say senior royals are uneasy. The monarchy depends on legitimacy above all else. And as one longtime royal historian warned, even whispers about birth irregularities have destabilized dynasties before. In this case, silence isn't calming the storm. It's making it more dangerous. If there were ever even a hint that Archie or Lilibet's status could be legally questioned, critics say the consequences would be enormous. In an era ruled by viral headlines and TikTok detectives, even the smallest crack can spread fast. And that's exactly what happened. Social media didn't just react, it detonated. Within hours of Lady C and Tom Bower's broadcast, hashtags demanding transparency flooded timelines across the globe. Clips from the show pulled in millions of views, sparking heated debates, wild theories, and non-stop amateur investigations. Then came the next wave. TikTok sleuths and YouTubers began combing through old footage of Meghan and Harry frame by frame, like a true crime series. Pregnancy clips resurfaced, but this time the tone was different. Videos where Meghan's belly appears to shift or fold during public events, once dismissed as bad angles or wardrobe issues, are now being debated seriously online.
Tom Bower, where he doesn't go there. But he does go there as far as the fact that they wanted to keep the birth private and all the secrecy around that, and even the fact that
the accusation of Oprah Winfrey. Also, I think they're reserving that sort of attack for Meghan's own book, for which we must now look forward in a year's time or so.
I wonder, when you watched Meghan Markle speak out, what went through your mind?
Public service, it's a bright, sharp, hot spotlight, and most people don't understand it, nor should they. The thing that I always keep in mind is that none of this is about us in public service. It's about the people that we serve. I always try to push the light back out and focus it on the folks that we're actually here to serve.
Captions asking whether everything was staged started pulling in massive engagement. The internet isn't just curious anymore, it wants answers. Tom Bower didn't stop with birth-related questions. He widened the focus to the entire Sussex brand. According to him, the polished public image hides a far messier private reality, shaped by money pressures and an intense need to control the narrative. He argued that their Netflix deals and book contracts aren't passion projects, they're financial lifelines. And now, with credibility under a microscope, those deals could be vulnerable too. Bower put it bluntly. They're cornered, and they know it. In his view, every time the story starts to crack, the response is the same. Push back hard and hope fear silences critics. But here's the twist. Instead of quieting the noise, Harry's legal threats appear to be making things worse. Lady C, never known for retreating, looks more prepared than ever. Backed by decades of royal knowledge, she has hinted at timelines, private communications, and first-hand witnesses. People who, she claims, were close during key moments. And now she's openly daring Harry to take this to court. If he wants legal action, she says she's ready. Show every document, every log, every record. That confidence is what makes her dangerous. Lady C has no brand to protect. She isn't chasing sympathy, streaming deals, or public approval. She has nothing to lose, and that makes her fearless. Now the spotlight swings back to Harry. Royal watchers say the stakes have never been higher. If he backs down, critics will say he's hiding something. If he pushes forward, he risks a courtroom showdown that could expose everything he and Meghan worked so hard to keep private. And here's the irony. The harder Prince Harry tries to control the story, the more it spirals out of control. Every headline, every clip, every whispered claim adds fuel. One thing is clear. This isn't just PR anymore. It's a royal reckoning, and the world is watching. So what happens if this really goes to court? Does Harry risk opening doors he can't close? What information is Lady C truly holding? And could this finally flip the Sussex fairy tale on its head while Buckingham Palace stays silent and critics grow louder? One thing's certain, this story is far from over. What do you think? Is this about justice, reputation, or control? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you're still sipping this tea, and don't forget to subscribe for more royal realness.